Senator Elizabeth Warren's strong opposition to Donald Trump's pick for Treasury Secretary. She says the way Trump's administration is coming together shows he has no intention of draining the swamp as he had promised. Here again, some of what Senator Warren said just a short time ago.
He promised when he was running for president that he would break the connection between Wall Street and this Congress. He said he was going to separate that from the government, no more revolving door. He wasn't going to do that sort of thing. And then what does he do? He turns around and picks a guy who had actually been one of the people who helped do all of those lousy mortgages that not only broke the economy, but broke millions of families. And then after the crash, a guy who turned around and bought a bank that then became infamous for how hard it squeezed families that had already been cheated, and was the foreclosure machine following that. The American people are furious over what Wall Street has done. They don't want somebody who's going to come in here and say, hey, let's help Wall Street. And what Donald Trump is doing is he's literally handing the keys to the Treasury over to a Wall Street banker who helped cause the crash.
And back to the panel. Karine, you know, a lot of Democrats obviously criticize Republicans for just completely trying to block then President Barack Obama in his first term just from the get-go. Isn't the same, I mean, is it fair now to make the same criticism? It sounds like what Democrats are planning to do. I mean, whether they're able to do it because they don't have power in either house.
I got to tell you, Anderson, I'm all for it. I mean, on January 20th of 2009, Republicans met at some steakhouse in D.C. and talked about how they were going to make President Barack Obama a one-term president. So, but they got huge criticism from Democrats at the time who said, look, that's not how government, you know, that's not how we function. I hear you, it's not how government works, but this is a guy who, you know, there is no two Donald Trump. There is one Donald Trump, which is the campaign Donald Trump. We see this from the cabinet picks that he has chosen.
So payback is okay.
It's more about being part of the resistance and being part of saying to the American people, we have your back. Because like Elizabeth Warren said, 2.3 million more votes.
You say it's having their back. To others, it's
okay. If people just want to own up to the hypocrisy, then that's okay. But Democrats have been talking about this nonstop for the last 8 years, basically, that this was a strategy. So I think that it is a good strategy, and that's what Democrats saw. And that because what happens is the president is the one who wins if there's bipartisanship. So if the Democrats start working with Trump, then people will say, oh, Washington's functioning, and that's good for the president. So I guess it's a good strategy. It's extremely electoral strategy. It's not good for the country. It's a good electoral strategy.
Peter?
I actually don't think it's hypocrisy. I think there is an important difference. The question is, what is the agenda the president's pushing? Barack Obama's agenda, if you look at his health care plan, was basically largely taken from a Republican plan in Massachusetts. His infrastructure plan, right, his stimulus plan, had huge number of tax cuts, which Republicans liked, and the Republicans still opposed it. If Donald Trump comes forward with that kind of ideologically centrist proposal on infrastructure, he'll get Democratic support. But if he comes up with a proposal which is a hard right proposal, that's different than what Barack Obama did.
Anderson, I think
is it hypocrisy?
Warren talking about building economic opportunities and great passion she had. If the Democrats would have run on that and had a candidate that wasn't flawed, they might have won. With her ideas she put forth tonight, those were great ideas. They should have had them in the campaign. But look, moving forward, and she shouldn't be looking at what these guys have done in the past. She needs to look at what's the plan for the future. And as Kayleigh had mentioned, the economic plan that is on the table that Donald Trump has with regard to pro-growth tax, unleashing American energy, renegotiating trade deals, and looking at bilateral agreements with other countries. These are plans that will work and they will grow. And look, there are 1,000 employees at Carrier in Indiana who have seen the benefits of these plans.
Alex?
Well, look, this is a real debate that's going on within the Democratic Party right now, right? That there are folks like Elizabeth Warren who feel like just draw the line in the sand and do not let him step across it. There are other folks who, you know, I think Chuck Schumer has signaled that he may be among them, who see Donald Trump as not a conventional Republican and as a guy who's been extremely ideologically flexible over time. He's a negotiator. He's a guy who doesn't like being unpopular and doesn't particularly like, facing blowback face to face from people. So if you get in the room with him, this is the alternative theory of the case. Not saying it's a better theory of the case, but the alternative theory of the case is get at the table with him and talk him into a different position, or at least just appeal to his kind of natural negotiating tendencies.
To Kirsten's point, Kirsten mentioned, and she's absolutely right, that when you have bipartisanship, the president wins. The governing party tends to win. So I think every Democrat is going to face an important choice. What do you prioritize, policy or politics? If you prioritize policy, if you prioritize getting rid of bad trade deals, if you put your money where your mouth is, you're going to side with Donald Trump on some things. If you prioritize politics, then you're going to sit on the sidelines and probably pay the debt for that.
All right. I want to thank everybody. Trump tweeted that